Falcon!
Hello everyone, it is your favorite kind of punch, MrFalconpunch 996, the underrated king, the recommendation master, and of course YouTube's #1 Dorohedoro fanboy, back to bring you guys another new video. And today I'm back to do another Dragon Ball Z movie recommendation, and today I'm not just recommending one, but 3 Dragon Ball Z movies, and they're all the Broly movies. Oh boy. Now, Broly is probably one of the most popular and debatably most powerful Dragon Ball Z movie villain to ever come out, and even has 3 movies under his belt. With his debut film, Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, being pretty special, as unlike previous movies at the time, which were about 40 minutes each, the first movie clocked in about an hour and 10 minutes and featured what was probably one of the strongest villains Goku ever went up against at the time. So when this movie first came out, it was a pretty big deal. However, what did I personally think about it? Well, while it definitely isn't the worst of the Broly trilogy, it's not anything that good either in my opinion. This time around, Vegeta is contacted by a surviving Saiyan named Pargus, who asks Vegeta to rule the new planet Vegeta. However, there's something a bit shady about Pargus that Trunks doesn't trust, so he, along with some other Z fighters and allies, join Vegeta to see what could possibly be his new kingdom, only to find out about the threat of the legendary Super Saiyan, who's been terrorizing the galaxy lately, as well as somehow having quite the grudge against Goku. Now, the one thing I liked about this movie is that it does expand a bit on what we know about the Saiyans, but really that's all I think I could say. The comedy here at times didn't feel too funny. Piccolo practically shows up out of nowhere towards the end, though I guess as a Piccolo fan that isn't too bad. And while the action is cool, especially the big bad legendary Super Saiyan Broly being pretty savage, but Broly as a whole, oh Broly, after watching this one, it's really hard for me to understand what made him popular enough to get 2 more movies after this one. He's big, stupid, yells a lot, and his whole reason for hating Goku is probably one of the dumbest things to ever come out of Dragon Ball. Okay, so get this, back when Goku was a baby, he cried a lot, which made it hard for a baby Broly to get some sleep. And that right there was enough to make Broly have a lifelong rage against Goku. Like, what the actual fuck? I mean, there is just so much wrong with that right there. And with that being one of his big motives for killing Goku, it just really makes me hard to take Broly seriously as a character. Though if I were to say a couple things positive about Broly, besides his whole reasoning for wanting to kill Goku, I did like a good portion of his backstory, and his design when in Super Saiyan mode is pretty cool since Dragon Ball Z is full of muscular dudes, but Broly's just huge when compared to the rest. Though as badass as they tried making Broly seem here, the way they wind up defeating him is pretty lame. But nowhere near as lame as the second Broly movie, Broly the Second Coming, which sounds like the hentai version of this movie. Which in my opinion is the worst of the Broly trilogy, and I know a lot of people say it's Bio Broly, and while that movie is almost as equally bad, there are just a couple little things here and there that made that movie a bit easier to watch, but I'll talk more about those once I get there. Anyways, this time around we go back to the normal 40-minute movie setup, with Goten, Trunks, and Videl looking for some Dragon Balls, only to get wrapped up with some weird village shit that I honestly couldn't care less about, until Goten starts crying, which awakens a frozen Broly who somehow made it to Earth. With Goten reminding Broly of Goku, Broly once again goes on a stupid rampage. And that's the movie, and this movie just sucks. Honestly, I've never been a fan of Goten and Trunks. Well, future Trunks yes, but Kid Trunks, not so much. So having a movie that stars these two isn't really anything that's going to win me over, especially in the first 15 minutes or so, or just them goofing around. Gohan eventually comes in, and as one of the few Gohan fans out there, seeing him get some action is always a plus for me, but sadly not even Gohan was enough to really save this movie. Sure, once Broly is awakened, the movie pretty much turns into nothing but action, but it's nothing great. In fact, it actually gets old after a while, as the action mainly is just Broly smash, which is cool to see for like a couple minutes, but after that, it gets kinda bland. This is the type of action people normally stereotype Dragon Ball Z to be. It's just a bunch of rapid fire punches and energy blasts, barely any martial arts or creativity, and a whole lot of yelling. which just made this one of the hardest Dragon Ball Z movies I've had to sit through. The only thing this movie honestly had going for it is just this one short scene, which is honestly one of my favorite scenes of any Dragon Ball Z movie, being a family Kamehameha wave blast, which happens towards the end, and as much as I love this scene, it's nowhere near close enough to stop this from being a crappy movie. But after this piece of shit, they just had to make one more Broly movie, and that had to be Bio Broly, which a lot of people consider to be the absolute worst Dragon Ball Z movie ever. And while yes, this is a pretty bad movie, there are some elements that I did enjoy just a bit more than Second Coming. This time around, Android 18 and Mr. Saiyan get wrapped up in fighting off Mr. Saiyan's old rivals, new Bio-Mutants, with Trunks and Goten eventually catching up. However, as it turns out, thanks to one of the villagers from the previous movie, Broly comes back once again, newly reborn as a Bio-Mutant. And that's cool and all, until he turns into a giant snot monster. Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking when they're making this movie. Again, without a doubt, this is a crappy movie, but there are some elements that I did like about it. Seeing Android 18 and Mr. Saiyan always makes for some great laughs. And for a while, it did seem like the movie was going to focus on them, which was a strange but definitely welcome choice. But once Trunks and Goten get involved, they start to become the main focus of the movie, and once again, I am not their biggest fan. Though another aspect I did like about this movie, while it was a bit weak, I did like the sci-fi horror vibe the movie had going for it. But at the same time, if it wasn't already hard for me to take Broly seriously, here we have him looking like some sort of sewage monster, and the way they finally finish him off here is, again, pretty weak. Once again, we have a Broly movie that's just stupid with little to no creativity. I mean, after all the monstrous scientific creations that have come out of Dragon Ball as a series, for the Bio Warriors, we get these. Like, really? And again, why did they have to make Broly look like this sludge? I may have not been the biggest Broly fan out there, but I at least did like his design, which this movie even takes away. Overall, if you couldn't tell, the Broly movies are my least favorite among the Dragon Ball Z franchise. They lack creativity, are extremely boring, and focus on a crappy villain with crappier motives, and by the third movie, crappier looks. Luckily though, the remaining Dragon Ball Z movies to review, well, with the exception to Android 13, are for the most part pretty good. In fact, a few of them are some of my favorites. And now it's time to wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, I am MrFalconpunch 996. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you haven't done any of that yet, you will be Falcon Punch in the face, so you better do it, and I'll see you guys next time.